morning, everyone, and welcome to the September meeting of the Mountain View Computer Users Club. I'm John Buno, the president, and we're going to be talking about today's agenda real quick so you know what's going to be happening. We're going to briefly talk about some user group business. We're going to talk a little bit about the state of the user group and what you can expect as a member. Then we're going to do some really interesting timely tech topics. Some very interesting things have happened this last month. Not earth-shattering, but interesting. Then we're going to do a very short tips of the month and sharing favorites and some really good ones. And then we're going to go through what the September meeting is all about, coming up with the topics for our next user group year, which is October through August. That is where you all get to tell us what you want to learn about. That's where we get our topics. We do not use an executive committee that comes up with the ideas for you. We get them from you. And even during the year, if you come up with something, we'll try and squeeze it in for you. If you have questions during any portion of the meeting, feel free to ask them. We do have a sponsorship program. Sponsorship is $10 a meeting or $100 a year. You get a slide during the meeting. You get a posted video on the web. You get mentioned on our Facebook. Ask around, see if you know anybody who'd like to sponsor us. We do have one sponsor this month. Carolyn, the Candle Lady, our very own Carolyn, is also our treasurer. I can tell you, I own one of the Bugs No More. I bought one of those candles because the mosquitoes were killing me in my backyard. And it works. It works beautifully. As a matter of fact, we ran into a problem getting mosquitoes in the house. And so at night, they were landing on me and eating me. One night, they even picked me up and tried to carry me out the door. I bought the candle, started burning it. Not one mosquito as long as I had it lit. So it works really well. Okay, a little bit about user group business. Introduction to the officers. I'm John Buno, the president. Carolyn, our treasurer, is not here, and I don't think she sent us a treasurer's report. This is dues month, by the way. And Barry is our acting treasurer. You may give him checks, but not cash. Yes. Or we have a way you can pay online. We have Mike McLeod, who's our vice president, who handles iOS and Windows. We have Barry, who's sitting right down in front of me, who's our other vice president. We have two presidents of Vice, who handles Mac OS and iOS. And for you Mac owners, I can tell you that this month is going to be mind-blowing because a new OS is coming out. We'll talk about that. And we do have a webmaster who takes care of our web, MVCUG.org, Jim Emmons, who has been seen. Barry and I have spoken with him. He does exist. This is our website. Please visit it at least weekly. We are updating it all the time, putting new links, and there's a new link that's going to be added on our YouTube page. There is a channel, a playlist actually, called Tips and Techniques. It is loaded with videos on YouTube that I come across that I think will be of interest. It is a great resource. I am going to be going in and working on it to try and subdivide it down because right now it's got over 100 videos in it. Works like a champ. You name the topic, it's up there. As I find, for all three platforms, including Android when I come across Android stuff. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay. Yeah, this is the website. It's MVCUG.org. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is our mail list. Mountain View Computer Users Group. When you join, we try and add you automatically to it unless you say no. This is a way for you during the month. If you have questions, you just send it to the mail list. It goes out to all the members who are subscribed to it, and you'll generally get an answer to your question within minutes. The longest I think I've ever seen has been about an hour. Before, somebody's...
I subscribe to a daily digest, so I don't see them exactly when they come in.
Yeah. Well, then how do you manage to answer before I do?
Well, there are certain threads that I will subscribe to the specific one when I see it. So.
But it's a great resource for the group. We've helped solve quite a few problems, mainly with Charles Gluckman. We ran into some really unique problems, and we fixed it for him. Professional consultation. This is probably the biggest benefit of the group, is that you have access to two of our leaders, Barry and myself, and you can call us up, ask us questions free of charge. If we have to come out to your house, which is rare these days, we have to do that. There is a small charge of $35 an hour, and we guarantee our results. If we can't fix it, you don't pay. And we've helped a number of people here in the audience already. I know I can get to Maureen's house and Charles's house blindfolded easily. And
for texting. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've solved problems just by texting.
Yeah. So it's a great resource. And now, if you are not a member, telephone is $50 for 30 minutes. Visits are $125 an hour. Now, if you think that's high, contact Geek Squad. They start at $200 an hour. One of our members did have to have that done. because I could not solve his problem. It had to be an Apple certified technician, which Best Buy is, and it cost him almost $400. Okay, but we'll talk about that. Okay. If we don't answer the phone, leave a message or text us. What happened this month? The biggest thing that came out is Apple Intelligence, Apple AI, was sent to developers. Folks, I'll tell you, I'm a beta tester. It is worth it. It is the best AI assistant I've seen yet. It's not like ChatGPT. One of the big objections that my wife has had to AI is it doesn't sound like you. When ChatGPT generates, it doesn't sound like you talking. I went in and wrote up a paragraph, and I used Apple AI, rewrite it. I wanted more of a business, and it rewrote it. I showed it to Jane. She says, well, I see you finally learned how to write. I said, I didn't write that, dear. The AI, she said, it sounds just like you. It even uses, because what it does is it goes through and analyzes all of your writing and gets your writing style. It is a great grammar checker. It makes Grammarly look sick. That's the only thing that's out so far. The rest of it hasn't been out. It's coming out slowly. In Apple's Glow Time event, then they introduced the new iPhones. They did not talk a lot about AI, just at the phones that will support it.
One short segment to kind of introduce the public, because, I mean, they did a lot at WWDC in June about it.
To the general public, it's just now coming out. If they come up with everything they've been talking about, it is going to wipe out the AI industry as a new standard. And it was really impressive. And I've only got to see about 1/10 of it.
So is the Apple AI available?
No, it's only out in beta. It will probably be out to the rest of us. We are thinking, this is not a promise, we are thinking about December, November, December, maybe January.
Some features that they were talking about in the event video, that they specifically said next month. So it's going to be with 18.1, but all of the features that they have announced so far, going all the way back to WWDC, it's not like they're all coming at once. It's all going to be gradually built out.
Based upon what I'm seeing in the developer beta, it's going to be the writing assistance that's available in Pages, Notes, Mail. You have to have a Silicon Mac, Apple Silicon.
M1 or later. Yeah.
Okay, that's the newer ones. You have the M chip.
Instead of an Intel processor, it has an Apple Silicon M series chip.
If you've bought a Mac in the past,
the first ones came out in 2021, 2022.
On the iPhones, you must have an Apple 15 Pro Max or Apple 16, all models.
No, the Pro, 15 Pro is also. Pro and Pro Max.
Oh, Pro? Okay, Pro or Pro Max. If you don't, it will not be available to you. It won't be like, it's not implemented. It won't be there. You'll only see it. At the event, the new 16s were introduced to very mixed reviews. Some people think they're really great. Some people said it wasn't enough. Based upon what I saw, I'm seriously thinking of upgrading to a 16 Pro, not the Pro Max. My issue with the Pro Max is the screen is too big. The Pro Max screen is almost the size of an iPad mini. It's big, too big for my hands. New AirPods. This one is phenomenal. Today, this morning, these AirPods by Apple were yesterday, were approved by the FDA as hearing aids. They are legitimate hearing aids, which means these are about 1/10 the cost of hearing aids, including the iPhone.
They're classified as clinical grade over-the-counter, which the FDA opened up over-the-counter hearing aids a few months back.
Yeah. So for those of you who have an iPhone, who need hearing aid assistance, this is a great option.
And it's the AirPods Pro second generation, which are already on the market. So even if you already have a pair of those, you'll get this feature with a software update.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's what I've got. Oh, that's going to be fantastic. The version of AirPods that you own. If you own one of the newer versions of AirPods, the hearing aid will be part of it. If you have
it'll upgrade.
Yeah.
You'll be able to use it as a hearing aid device.
For the device. And that's also probably, I think they said later this month. So it's probably with a point upgrade to the iOS 18 that'll come out.
Because it's not in the current 18.1 beta. Okay, iOS 18 and macOS Sequoia will be released on the 16th as an update. I'll tell you right now, folks, to me, the biggest feature in this is it changes to Notes. What they've done, and some of you may remember, there was a program on the Mac was only on the Mac. It was called More. It was an outliner. It was one of the greatest programs I'd ever used. I loved it. And when the company went out of business, I actually cried because I had so much stuff in More. I had to convert it all over. Notes is getting closer and closer to More. It's like they're using More as a framework. The biggest thing is you now have collapsible headings. If you type in something and mark it as a heading, everything below that will collapse when you close that heading. If you have subheadings, you can have headings and subheadings and close that. It makes organization of your notes so much easier, the ability to find stuff so much quicker. That alone. The changes to freeform are really good. You can now find stuff in freeform. And it's the biggest update in years. If your machine will support it, then you'll know because you'll get the update notice. If your machine cannot support it, you won't be notified of the update. If it does, yeah, Maureen?
What's the value of freeform? What is, because I see it on my computer, but I haven't had time to really bother with whatever it is.
It would be.
Okay.
Is what was originally designed as a collaboration tool. So you could get people together to work on a project. It's a huge whiteboard. It is evolved into much more than that.
Does it integrate with Note?
Not really.
Because I use Notes that way.
I think you could use a URL scheme to link things.
There is a way of doing it, okay, to integrate the two. But the type of integration I think you're talking about, if you do a lot of collaboration, freeform might be a better way to go.
On the beauty with combination of AI and Zoom being available, oh my God, the note-taking changed completely with having free note-taking.
The new Apple AI's ability to make concise notes out of, you go and just give it a full web page, summarize it. And they're beautiful summaries. Okay, already talked about that. Oh, the catch on Apple AI, you cannot use it directly after you update to 18.1. I updated to 18.1, and where the hell's the AI at? You know what? You have to go in and sign up for it.
18.1.
18.1 would be the point.
18.1. You're on 17.5.1 right now. I did some research and found out you had to go in, and there's a new setting selection that says Apple Intelligence. So they said, sign up here and you'll be placed on the waiting list. I said, okay, it's going to be about a week, maybe 2 weeks. An hour later, I got the notification that it had been activated. I went and started playing with it. Yeah, Barry?
But it may not work that way once it's public released. I mean, they still say the initial Apple Intelligence features will be beta initially, but you may not have to sign up. It may just be on it.
But it was really interesting. Okay, scams. I have added this to every meeting now to warn people what's happening out there. One of our members just lost $4,700. He's still attempting to get it back. He's working with the credit union. He received a call from an individual that was not marked as potential scam. It came in as a legitimate phone call with, interestingly, the credit union's number. They ghosted it. At least that's what he claims. Not too sure how true that is. There was a problem giving him a refund check, which he was not aware that he had a refund check coming, but he said, okay. And in order for it to be processed, they had to get into his account on his computer and clear it up. Anytime anyone on a cold call wants to get into your computer, hang up, turn your computer off, call the cops. And I'm not kidding. That's a scam.
Really? You call the police?
Yes.
For scam?
Yes, it is a federal crime. They will, depending upon...
Even the local?
Yes, either the Sheriff's Department, the Bisbee Police, Sierra Vista, Huachuca, let them know. They'll make a determination as to where it goes from there. Cochise County Sheriff's Department has a whole division dedicated to this now. 2 or 3 people. Okay.
If you hang up, there's no...
Oh, yes, there is. It's recorded with the phone company. They can get it and trace to exactly where it came from.
And that's why you have to turn off your computer, too, because they can still keep going.
Yes. So he got into his computer. He gave him access to his computer. So he was there copying all of his files, inserted malware, because he now had root capability. He'd been given complete access. Within the next hour, he found out that the man had gone into his credit union account of $4,700. We're still working on that one. I could not do a deep scan of his computer for malware. I do not have that capability. So I told him he'd have to go to Best Buy. They did it. They found 107 malware on his computer that had been installed. One was a ransomware. It was stuff that had been uploaded. They could tell by the date, time, Now, that may sound like a lot in a very short amount of time. However, malware are very small programs. Most of them are less than 1K in size. I mean, so the 15 minutes, they have plenty of time to download almost all of this computer and upload. So I was impressed with that. Beware. If you get somebody calling up and saying your computer's infected, it's not, especially if they have a heavy Indian or Pakistani accent. Now, if you call a company, they say, I need to get access to your computer. Call me first before you give them access. True Apple and Microsoft tech services will ask to do that in some cases. But the way they contact you is the important thing. So call me up first. It's free.
There's another alleged scam going around where if someone calls you, they will come back and you hear it. They record that yes, they hang up on them. They can go ahead and I'll try to
Oh, yeah, I know. I fell for that one. Share a tip.
Someone asks a question, I'll just say, well, why do you want to know?
I don't understand that. What's the yellow value?
They use your voice, and from that yes, they can generate a whole number of different responses to teleprompting. Yes, from your voice. It's not difficult to do. You'd be surprised what they can. Hacking voice and biometrics. That's why companies are using less and less voice recognition. And using more and more true biometrics, fingerprint scans, facial scans. The best one is facial scans. That's almost 100% foolproof. It's very difficult to hack a face scan, especially on the iPhone, because the iPhone looks, the fact that you're alive, so they can't take a photograph of you and hold up in front of the camera, that won't work. Yeah, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So one of the things I want to show this morning is something I did not know about, and that's being able to pin a tab in Safari. Now, this is also available in iOS. You see these tabs right up here, anchored? Those are pinned. They're pinned tabs. And if I unpin it, it turns into a regular tab. Now, a regular tab can be closed. If I pin it and I just right-click on it, pin tab, it becomes a small icon, moves over to the left, and it's always available to me in any of the browser windows I open.
Does it come back to where you were or come back to the starting?
It goes back to wherever this pin was. If I click on, this takes me right to discord.com, right to wherever the tab was. Also available in Chrome, Firefox, Safari. It's available in Safari, in iOS, but you get to it differently. You get it through the submenu that comes up on the page. Yeah, on the phone and the iPad. Oh, yeah, that's right. On the iPad, it works just like this. On the phone, it's through the submenu. How I found out about this is I didn't know what those little icons meant. I'd never seen them before. And so I called up, I texted Barry and said, you have any idea what that is? And did you know or not? I don't remember.
No, I didn't know what you're talking about. I was getting ready to look it up, and then you sent another text and said, oh, I figured it out.
I right-clicked on it, and it was pinned. And now I use it all the time. It's a great little time-saving feature. Prevents you having hundreds of tabs open at once that you don't need to keep open. Tab groups allows you, and I don't know if it's available in Chrome and Firefox. I'm not sure, but I would be very surprised if it wasn't. To take groups of tabs, put them together, and access them through a separate menu.
They stayed where you were. Yes, that like a great benefit, because sometimes things go back to like whatever you started with.
It depends upon how the URL is written. So that's a big benefit. Yes, sir. Yeah, Firefox has had it for quite a while. Chrome has had it for quite a while, and Safari has had it for years.
Class, and I'm only saying this because for what you're talking about here, pinning a tab, but just when you grouping tabs, and then there's another one, but how to keep yourself organized when you're having so many windows open, and then like I use a note, drag URLs over, put them in a title as backup because I may have to close my computer or it may shut down.
You can bring that up. Is organizing your browser to keep, using bookmarks. Oh, yeah, bookmarks, reading, how to use the reader to make it easier to read websites. And that's pretty much available in all three browsers that I know of. Okay. So that's the first tip on pinning, in case you didn't know about it. I figure if I didn't know about it, there's got to be somebody out there besides me who doesn't know about it. Let's go back. Silence unknown callers. I can tell you, this is on the iPhone, and the reason it's on the iPhone is I've yet to be able to figure out where it is on an Android. I know it's there someplace. I can't find it. On the next release of iOS, that is iOS 18, Silence Unknown Callers now appears in 2 locations. One for FaceTime and one for calls on the phone. The one that pops up first is for FaceTime. So you have to turn both of them off in order to silence unknown callers. I discovered this the hard way. Yes, they're completely separate. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is something that's been brought up to me this past week twice. So I think it's about time I talked about it. Jailbreaking. What is jailbreaking? It's something unique to iOS and the iPhone. You do not have this on Android. Jailbreaking refers to bypassing Apple security on the iPhone. Right now on your iPhone, the only apps you can install are those that have been approved by Apple through the App Store. You cannot install apps other than that process. Yeah, well, since we're not in the European Union, that's a completely different story. But in order to do that, you have to do something to your phone called jailbreaking, which means you go in and you bypass that. You void the warranty on your phone. If your phone breaks, you take it to Apple. They will not fix it. They will refuse to fix it. They will not take it in as a trade-in, because once it's been jailbroken, it's very difficult to get it unjailbroken and to cover the tracks. Yes, it allows you to install many good things. However, it leaves you vulnerable for the major difference between an Android and an iPhone. iPhones don't have malware because of this feature. Androids can get it malware. I ran across that this weekend. A friend of mine had an Android, and somehow they got some nasty malware on it. They kept shutting the phone down, and it was very consistent. That's how I figured out it was malware. They get on a phone call, and after 1 minute on the phone call, the phone shut down. They started back up. They get on a call, exactly 1 minute, because I was timing him when he was talking to me. So I had him take it into, I think he's with AT&T, and they determined that he'd gotten a nasty, and they were able to get rid of it. We don't have anything since Mike and Carolyn are both gone this week. They're still on vacation somewhere in the Midwest, or they could be on the East Coast, right? I don't remember. We don't have any Windows. If anybody has anything to share on Windows, I do know there is a major update coming for OneNote from Microsoft. I don't know when it's coming out. OneNote, there's a major update to it. That's the only thing I got was that press release saying that, later this year, there's a major update to OneNote coming. I have no more information than that. Any questions so far? Okay, great. Because this is our question and answer period. We have no questions? Is everybody awake out there? Oh, goody. Okay, because we'll answer questions on just about anything. We're going to take a short break right now. Okay, folks, break is over and we'll continue to move along. Our elections. If there's anyone who would like to run for one of the offices, speak now, because we'll gladly give it to you. Make a nomination for president, add a third vice president, replace one of the vice presidents, or the treasurer. Any nominations at all? Do I have a motion to continue with the officers we have now? So moved, seconded. Any opposition? Of course not. Record one opposition. Okay. As we move along, we're going to come up with the topics.
Oh, we didn't vote on the motion.
I said call for opposition.
Sorry.
Call for opposition. There was one opposing vote, so it has been moved and passed and duly recorded that we're in for another year, Barry. Yeah. How do you like retirement, by the way? Just wait till you find out you run out of time being retired. These are the functional areas that we have within the group and who can deal with those functional areas. This by no means limits you to an area. This is just to give you ideas of things that can be done. They're areas of in-group expertise so we don't have to research. If you give us a topic outside of this, then we have to research it. And that's our job we go out and research topics. If you come up with something we don't know anything about, like artificial intelligence, 3D scanning, virtual reality, assisted reality, we go out and research that and come back and report it to you. But these are just areas we've got covered if you come up with something in that area. And we pretty much have a lot of it covered. I like to deal with modernization. That's one of my big areas of what's next. So those are the functional areas, just to give you ideas, suggested topics, and I emphasize the word suggested. These are just ideas over the years that we've had, that people have asked about, just to give you some ideas, take a look at them, say, oh yeah, that's something I'd like to know more about. I know about that. Can I make the presentation? Which we'd be glad to let you do.
Silly, if you've got some Android expertise, which none of the officers use Android phones or devices. We have people that do have them, so we need to.
Oh, I finally found out I told my friend who had the Android with all the ads in it, found out what the problem was. Her sister had purchased her the phone and had purchased one with ads because it was cheaper. I did not know such a thing existed. She finally has an iPhone now, and I have not received one call from her since she got the iPhone. is a problem. And she still doesn't know how to use it, but she doesn't have any problems. Any questions on this slide before we move along? Okay, here are the functional areas broken down. If you have any idea, Barry is our graphic design expert. And by the way, he's excellent at it. He is very, very good. I'm the one who deals in digital photography and multimedia and videography. That's my background, along with a lot of other things. If any people would be interested on how to use your phone for videography, because I'll tell you right now, that iPhone is an amazing video camera.
See, when 16 come out, carries out the capability of the 16.
Starting with 14, they're amazing. The stabilization. Now, many of you remember back when they came up with the, for Star Wars, the thing that kept the camera steady when you walked, the Steadicam. Super expensive. Took 2 people to get into the rig. The camera perfectly steady, regardless of what you're doing, running, walking, climbing stairs. That phone, my 14, when I turned stabilization on, perfectly stable like a multi-$1,000 Steadicam. I have gone out when I had a sizable limp. I would take it, and I was limping with my camera like this, with a cane, or it's like this, with a cane, and the resulting video was perfectly steady. Starting with a 14, a 15 is even better. The 16 is flat amazing for video. These are now used by professional videographers to do major motion pictures. The 16 will have 4K at 120 frames per second. That rivals video cameras at 20 times the cost. So yes, these are great video cameras, and they're relatively easy to use as a video camera. Basically, you hold it up, you tap a button, and you walk. That's it.
There will be a Bible with this now, because I guess we'll use Mike's lavalier microphone, the distance.
Yeah. One of the things I like to do is I'll set up the camera on a tripod, and I'll walk towards the camera with the lavalier mic on, and that way you can hear me. I've also done such thing as use my drone and done the video of me walking. By the way, if anybody would like a drone to play with, I got one for sale really cheap. 2 by accident, and the company said I can keep it. So I don't need 3 drones. Droning is fun, by the way, especially it lets you get down on the San Pedro in places you can't get to. Any questions on this? Now, we've already talked about using photos and Lightroom. We can do more on that if you like. We had a lot of interest on that one. Using Google Photos, Amazon Photos, I'm not that familiar with. I know it exists. We can talk about, just... You come up with a topic like Charles just came up, I want to use if you'd like to do a presentation on doing like GIMP or one of the alternatives, because I'm a Photoshop guy. I don't use the alternatives. I'm a Lightroom Photoshop guy, have been for years.
And non-stop.
That's not the first time I've heard that one. I started Photoshop at Photoshop 2. So if you'd like to do a presentation on that, just let us know. We'll program you in. I'm more than happy to. Okay, moving right along. Here's some more functional areas. Mike McLean is an expert in cybersecurity. Gaming. Now, I'll admit we don't have a gaming expert in the group. We can discuss games and what they can do, and some of the new games are actually becoming true interactive fiction, and they're amazing. Operating systems. If you want to know more about the operating system, how to use it. Making your home into a smart home. That's what I have now. My house is now classified as a smart home. I have cameras, door locks, video cameras, doorbells, lights on and off. The whole thing has been set up to be controlled remotely, including air and cooling. Cooling and heating. I can set it remotely. We could talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, how those are changing. In fact, we almost always do one of those each year as it changes, because the Apple Vision Pro is truly revolutionary. And if you've not been to the Apple store and gotten that demo, I strongly urge you to do that. Even if you're not an Apple fan, you need to see that. It is incredibly amazing. I have never experienced anything like that. And I've been dealing with what we now call it is virtual reality since the early 70s, when the Army first started experimenting with it, far beyond anything we ever dreamed of. It's actually the implementation of what we did dream of. It's amazing. Here are the meeting dates. You'll notice something very unique about this coming year. The president is only going to be gone once. No, I will be here for the March meeting. What are the topics that Ava gave us?
We had an email group thread going and had some suggestions from Ava come up in there.
We do know that October, November, we're one of those 2 months. Barry's going to make a presentation on the iOS and macOS changes. But let's do that in October.
I am? That what everybody wants? We're going to take member suggestions.
We get a minute.
Yeah, I like the idea of just making brainstorm a list of topics, and we can arrange the calendar, whatever fits for who's going to be available to do it.
Okay, that gives us October. We have any suggestions for November? Anything people are a topic, and we'll find a place to put it in.
Since I only kept PC, I'm interested in anything related.
Okay, anything in particular?
I'm sure I can learn about it.
So that could be pulled in with the OS.
No, that one's going to be a big one because there's so many changes. That's why I gave it an entire meeting. There's hundreds of changes. What about, is anybody interested in a Windows 11 presentation on the changes in Windows 11? Is anybody using Windows 11? Oh, yeah. Anybody else interested in Windows 11? It's what Microsoft is trying to go to with a lot of resistance. November will be Windows. We'll come up with something. If you come up with something that you really like, navigating Windows, that's one of the reasons I was thinking about doing it, is explain to people.
Don't change unless you're ready.
Unless you have the right hardware, you can't install on it. But yet, what Microsoft is trying to do, and they've openly admitted this, is force people to update the hardware. And people are resisting it like crazy.
I don't like being forced into having to buy a new product when I'm dropping good money for a product that it should last. I mean, I come out of the age of, you buy something that lasts for 20 or 30 years.
The life expectancy of a computer is 3 years. Yeah. However, Apple's life expectancy, which I find very interesting, is 10 plus. There has been a lot of people who've recorded Macs as old as 15 years and it's still running fine. You don't have
phone and it works just fine. And it POs me that they make it obsolete. They're like, I just ran into something that I need a different phone in order to have it. And I thought, well, screw it, I won't have it until I really want it.
Let's they can't. If you're set to do it, sometimes you change.
But it doesn't have to be obsolescence and disposability. That's the part that
Apple's never made something that will not work after 10 years. And that's what Apple says their time barrier is 10 years. After 10 years, they can't guarantee, but they'll always have updates for 10 years. I have one of the original 30-pin iPod.
Well, they changed iTunes. And in the changes that they made to music, it makes an iPod more challenging, as well as a phone.
That is...
I mean, that's PO disturbing.
There is a way around that, and I forget that we found that. And there's a program you can get that makes it work right. I don't remember what it is. Okay, we have anything else? Any other idea? What are some of Ava's? Do you have Ava's?
There was a question about OneDrive.
Windows OS, and that's a good one.
I think Mike said he'd go into depth on OneDrive.
And OneDrive. OneDrive, by the way, for those of you who use Windows, is a very important piece of, actually, if you a Mac or Windows, because OneDrive works on both, is really important to understand how it works. Then we've got that one covered for November. Yeah, Norman?
Let's say the topic to brought up to OneDrive and others wife it consider typically the day of the advent of our intelligence. What are the privacy? Because a lot of them are changing terms of service to allow them to look back or how you want to address it or actual files or their cloud service in order to train the model or not.
And I'd like to suggest January for that one, right after New Year rather than December. Not privacy and security, privacy concerns. The whole thing on privacy, there is enough there for it. How vulnerable are you on your phone? Can you actually be traced? Do they show? And I got news for you, folks. Yes, you can be.
So they look at all your files store.
Speaking of privacy and Alexa.
That's an oxymoron.
Privacy and Alexa is oxymoronic. They don't go together. No.
So what do we need to know? Because I think, well, I'll speak for myself. I have Alexa. So what is it that I
Give up your rights, don't you?
Oh, it's always listening.
I know it's always listening.
We'll find out.
Amazon would dispute that.
See, that
How do we know?
See, there was a law case where a husband murdered his wife or something like that. And the government wanted to know if they could confiscate his device. He was saying to his wife the other time she was murdered. I don't know what the results.
But my guess is that they were allowed to. Now, one thing I can tell you, and I don't know about Android, I can tell you on iPhone, that if you lock your phone and you forget the passcode to get into it, it is virtually impossible to get in. It can be done. You have to contact an Israeli security crew who will take the phone for approximately 30 days, and they can break into it, and they don't tell anybody how they do it. Apple says it can't be done. They did it in one case. It was $30,000 to crack that phone, which the FBI gladly paid. don't lose your passcode because it's not recoverable. And in many cases, you can't even reset the phone. Okay, great topic. Anything else? Barry, got anything?
There's also questions. Oh, yeah, that Maureen brought up. Well, there was one already on the list here about the search engine, how to use them, when to use them, what are they? Bullet stuff, how to choose one, and then also the issue of, browser or window tab bookmark management, all the ins and outs of web browser organization. I don't know if that can all be in one meeting, search engines and browser organization.
December, I'll be gone.
What about something like clearing off your cleaning up and clearing off it up? Or
there was that also that in one of the things was about, your Mike and I can both do. We can do it both Mac and Windows in terms of things you can do to speed up your
cleanup. And you may want to talk about Mac Clean, because that does a really good job. Is it equivalent to it on Windows, but I don't remember the name of it.
I think Mike and I have done similar topics.
Or Mac Shoot.
what's the wild rainbow?
The beach ball.
Okay, good topic so far. Anything else anybody dreams up? Zoom has got a collaboration tool in it. Zoom is an excellent.
I've never used it.
Add it.
Well, that covers other collaboration tools. Okay, any other topics? Oh, videography.
Using your smartphone video kit.
Editing for audio and video, written audio and video. Editing tools to edit any video or audio. Well, I don't know what anybody else is interested in.
Editing video. We've talked about Final Cut Pro and iMovie. For audio, Audacity is one I recommend. Though you've got Audacity, Sonic by Adobe, but editing audio is rather complex. So what else? Come on, Norma, put your thinking cap on. Yeah, Charles.
Yeah, Audacity. It's open source, and it's all cross-platform.
But none of them are easy to use if you don't know audio well, because the terms they use.
Yeah.
Okay, just video, AI.
AI. Yeah, by then there'll be a lot more.
What are the new AI out? Because we're getting a lot of it every day coming out. ChatGPT 4.0. If you heard about the biggest problem they have now, people are using specialized AI generators to generate pornography of stars. And it is getting really bad because they are so well done, you can't tell it's AI generated. Except the one thing that's a telltale they haven't gotten right yet, and that's why you quite often will not see hands. They can't get the hands right. Even generative AI from Adobe, which is probably the most advanced of them all right now, can't get hands perfect. That's a telltale, guaranteed telltale. Other than that, they're getting really good.
At the hand.
Yes, Charles?
In on my audio, GarageBand.
Okay, we have two people. Does anybody know what GarageBand is? Does anybody know what music is? Okay, GarageBand allows you to create music and record music and create orchestras out of nothing. Or if you would like, you can go and play different instruments at different occasions and bring them together in GarageBand. So you can make an entire chorus of you singing, and you can see they're used up on YouTube all the time, where you get the same person in the.
So it'd be more like a prosumer music editing generation tool as opposed to a pro tool.
Someone just 2 weeks ago told me about the fact that they wrote a poem, and they took that poem and generated 40 songs with AI. I don't know what tool they used, but they said they took the same poem and had to do it in the style of Dixie, had to do it in the style of male and female voices, rock and roll, metal, opera. They just did this whole big sweep of how it would be how it would come out. Their purpose was to send it to somebody who liked a certain type of music. I don't know what that tool was. Oh, yeah. What do we not know about Preview? And what is the Windows version of Preview?
There is no.
It replaces Acrobat on the Mac. Well, I can replace Acrobat, and it's free. It does almost everything Acrobat does and then some. While it's not called out directly on iOS, you have the same capability, but you generally get to it through notes. Like if you want to digitally sign a document, super easy in Preview. Actually easier than in Acrobat. I found Acrobat to be difficult to all you do is you hold up your signature in front of the camera, your phone, it records it, and you've got it.
Does that relate that have to do with the age of the software? I mean, the hardware?
Should not. Most previews have that capability. Now, there may be a limit on it, but I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, preview on Mac. Somewhere in here, we're going to do a short presentation on the new notes, and its equivalent, and I can't remember the name of it on Windows. Help me, people.
OneNote?
OneNote, because right now, Notes has leapfrogged OneNote. And it used to be like this. Now they've done this. They're playing leapfrog. So I don't know where it's going to be. I'll have to get with Mike, and we'll make a dual present. That won't take an entire meeting. Well,
About iCloud talking about.
cloud storage.
Cloud storage and cloud sharing services.
Cloud, really?
Because a lot of people still don't understand the term the cloud. Real quick, don't think of the cloud as something separate. Think of the cloud as a disk drive connected to your computer. That's all you have to remember. An external hard drive. That's what it is. And you can access it from anywhere. If you are on a PC at a hotel, you can access everything that's in iCloud easily. If you are on a Mac, OneDrive can be accessed from anywhere in the world. If you have one set up at your home, I can access the one at my home with some degree of difficulty. We've got a full slate already. Any additional comments, topics? Because we can do dual topics in some of these.
More ideas. Yeah.
Add it as we go.
Like I said, yes, ma'am. Okay. Any other questions, folks? Let me bring this up so everybody can see it. When the officers go to put this together, we do a collaboration. In fact, we collaborate online. We use Keynote because we all have iOS or Macs, and we share the presentation, and they go in and fix all my mistakes. So we do collaborate. So we're familiar with how to do collaboration. Like we'll put the topics up. Barry will have the topics up online probably by tomorrow, day after. He's pretty good at that. In a collaboration, and we'll be able to go in and the officers will go in and share it. That way we have it available to us all the time. If I remember they're there.
We get this refined down to titles and subtitles. It'll be on the website. And who's going to do what? Yeah.
And then we'll come up with the Mike and Barry show, which, by the way, is it. When you see Mike and Barry show, make sure you catch it. Because that means I'm gone and real people get to take over.
Yeah, they are.
We even have theme music.
He has real theme music. I am working on some new stuff. I don't know if any of you noticed, but I've changed a lot of the presentation to shorten it for the nonsense stuff and get to the meeting a lot faster. I'd like to try and get the meetings down to 2 to 2.5 hours to get everybody through them easily. We don't waste our entire day. Any other questions, comments, concerns, observations? So no other questions? Then I'd say that we get to cut out early today. How's that sound? Unless somebody's got a question, I'd like to demonstrate. Oh, real fast. I want to show you. Here's notes. Okay, what I'm going to do is under this, I'm going to make this it's a title right now. I'm going to make this a heading, make this a heading, make this a heading, and I come over here, and you see that little arrow? That's the collapsible capability in the new notes. Now, under this, if I put in something,
If I have notes already going and current and up to date as I can be, I can go into my notes.
I don't know how far back this updated iOS 18 is going to go. I don't remember.
Yeah, use the pre-program.
You have all these available. You have titles, headings. Titles is what you see over here on the side, that first line. Headings are just that, headings. Subheadings are just that. You have monospaced. You have 3 different types of lists, and you have a new one, which is block quotes. I've got one. Oh, here's the August meeting. I can I'm going to make this one a header, and now I can do that. But if I come underneath this and make this another header, when I close this one, the one underneath it is still there. I can make this a subheading and close that, but it's now part of this heading. And that's how the new one works in Notes. I have been led to believe OneNote will have something like this coming up. I don't know for sure. I've heard 2 different. I'm on a number of different developer threads. I'm on a developer thread for Windows and for Mac. And you can't always believe what you read in these threads because sometimes you're told things that just aren't true. And sometimes you're told things which you don't believe and end up being true. It's hard to say. So that's what's coming out. That's one of the big changes. Also, you can come in here and do I have a PDF in here? Yeah, this is a PDF. If you double click on PDF and Notes, it brings you right into Preview, where Preview can go in and it's a PDF editor, among other things. Full capability to edit. If you have a blank form, you press one button and it takes that blank form and makes it editable. So you can go in and fill out the spaces. You don't have to go in and do it by hand. It does it for you automatically. And it's about 95% foolproof. The only thing it has problems on is when you get big, large open gaps. It doesn't know how to fill those out right, and you can do those manually. So that's what Preview will do. OneNote does something similar. Acrobat is the one that really does this well. They were the leaders in that, but now other companies are catching up with them. And because Acrobat needs a major update, because they've fallen behind on that one, because Adobe is concentrating a lot on AI right now. And I must admit, Adobe's AI, especially in Photoshop and Lightroom, has just become amazing. And the new Lightroom that's out is the finest photo management software I've seen since Aperture. Okay, any other questions, comments, observations?
I say I'm on about PDF file, probably access them here no longer. Let's call you.
That is a major problem. You're not the only one. I don't know what's going on. They're on your computer somewhere. I get that call almost once a week from somebody saying, I have PDF documents, I can't find them anymore. Where are they? Normally, I find that they have been moved to the cloud or they're in the cloud and somehow they don't have the cloud turned on, so they can't access them anymore. But that's just one case. So yeah, give me a call. I mean, you got me on speed dial. You know that. Any other questions? No questions? Then I say, let's go home, gang. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month.